Hari Om. Do you see the disclaimer? This is my disclaimer. I am only responsible for what I say, not for what you understand. So remember this. It's very, very important. Now, let's go to the Gita's, what happened yesterday. So yesterday, I can't say you saw. Yesterday, I saw what Arjuna slowly realizes. He realizes that he is confused and cries out, Karpanya dosho upahata swabhava. Karpanya dosha upahata swabhava. My swabhava, my kshatriya nature is now overpowered by karpanya dosha. Means faint-heartedness, lacking conviction, lacking boldness or courage. That kripanasya bhava. Kripana means miser, overpowered by miserliness. Remember Makichus? Miser can afford but cannot spend, does not want to spend. Remember the $100 crisp bill? He doesn't want to give away Benjamin, break Benjamin. So just as a miser has money but cannot spend it, so too we are all misers in thinking. We have the ability to think, yet we do not want to think. Arjuna has the ability to protect Dharma. He can protect Dharma. Kshatriyas, that is Kshatriya Dharma. But he is not ready. He is not ready to fight against all the low tendencies and false values within and without. So Krupana Bhava, Krupana Phalahetava, laboring for wages alone. And Kripana also means ignorant. Ignorance means Karpanya. We saw the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. The Rishi says, Hey Gargi, he who departs from this world without knowing the imperishable reality, that person is a Kripana. Because only a thinking intellect can know the imperishable. The intellect has that power. That too, only a Sukshma Buddhi, subtle intellect. It has to be trained and tuned by serving, serve, love, give, purify. So serve, love, give. When you serve, love and give, you purify your mind intellect. But now at least Arjuna is realizing that I am confused. Therefore, Arjuna confesses, Pruchami tvam dharma sammuda chetaha. I ask you, hey Krishna, aham tvam pruchami. Because dharma sammuda chetaha ahamasmi. Dharma sammuda means dharma vishaye sammuda cheta. My mind is confused regarding the duties. I am not able to discern my responsibilities. I don't know my dharma. So therefore, I ask you, Yat Shreyasya Nishchitam Bruhitan me. I ask you, which is better? Nishchitam Bruhi, decisively tell me. Don't tell me that this is good and that also is good. Oh, I will not. I am in such a condition, I can't. You tell me decisively. Nishchitam Bruhi. Decisively tell me. Decisively tell me what is good, not just for me, but for everyone around me. Not just good for me and my party. No, for everyone around. Tell me the Shreyas. Shreyas means to give maximum happiness for maximum people for maximum time. Because at the physical level, health is Shreyas for all. At the mind level, peace, manashanti. So peace is the Shreya for all at the mental level. At the intellect level, clarity, not confusion, right understanding. And at spiritual level, the oneness, the identification with the entire humanity. entire kingdom of beings, because the life in me is the life in all. The same life is pulsating in every being. That identification. So at spiritual level, that oneness, recognizing that one divine life. So yes, Nishitam Shreyah Syat Tatme Bruhi. Which is better, please tell me decisively. Why? Shishyasteham. I am your Shishya. I am your disciple. Please teach me. Arjuna thus bows down, saying, I am your disciple. Please instruct me. Tvam Prapannam. I means, please teach me who has taken refuge in you. I seek your refuge. Till now, Arjuna was lecturing Krishna. Now, Arjuna is accepting. Shishyasteham, I am your disciple. Shadimam, please teach me. Meaning, slowly we can see that slowly, Vishada, the dejection of Arjuna is turning. Whenever the Vishada turns to inquiry and learning, understand that is yoga. So, yet Shreyasyat Tatme Bruhi. So, Shreyas, the path of good for all. And prayers, path of pleasure for me. That's called prayer. But Shreya, the path of good for all. So Krishna is saying, Arjuna is saying to Krishna, hey Krishna, tell me what is Shreyas. Take your time, but decide first and then tell me. And Krishna is just still looking at Arjuna without any expression on his face. Remember I said, teacher cannot criticize, teacher cannot praise. If he criticizes, the student will stop asking questions. If he praises, he starts manufacturing questions. So what can the teacher do? He will sit like a wall. So psychiatrists are smart. They sit behind the patient. But Vedanta teacher cannot sit behind. Even face to face, you are terrible. You don't pay attention. If the teacher is behind you, so in Vedanta, the teacher has to sit in front. But he cannot interfere with the thoughts of the disciple because he's thinking and asking. So the teacher sits like a wall. So Arjuna feels Lord is not understanding. Therefore, Arjuna annotates his own condition. He says, Nahi prapashyami upayam. I don't see any means, any technique to remove my sorrow. I do not see Shreyas, the highest good. I do not see anything that will dispel my sorrow. Therefore, please guide me. Because mama shokam uchoshanam indriyana. Because my sorrow is drying up my senses. My sorrow is blasting my senses. All my faculties are drying up. This sorrow is benumbing my faculties. It's tormenting me. And Arjuna also adds, hey Krishna, don't tell me that if I fight and win, I will gain the whole kingdom, then my sorrow will be gone. No. Even if I gain, even if I obtain on earth an unrivaled kingdom and a prosperous kingdom, yet I do not see anything that will dispel my dejection. Moreover, he also adds, even Suranam api adhipatyam avapya. Even if I obtain the overlordship over the denizens, even if I obtain the lordship over the denizens of heaven, I do not see anything that can remove my sorrow. Therefore, hey Krishna, please teach me, please instruct me. Lord Krishna till now was silently waiting to give. Now a long lecture of Krishna will start. So in this gap, when Krishna is waiting, Sanjaya enters to explain the scene to Dhritarashtra, the blind king. By the description of Sanjaya, you can see the devotion of Sanjaya to Lord Krishna. See the glorious description. He says, Sanjaya says, Arjuna, having spoken thus to Hrishikesham, the Lord of the senses, Gurudakshina Parantapa. Arjuna is addressed here as Gurudakshina, the master of sleep. Means he will not sleep till he completes his work. Means alert and vigilant in doing his duty. And he's addressed Parantapa, the destroyer of the enemies. The enemies feel scorched in the presence of Arjuna. So Sanjaya says, that Gurudakshina, that Parantapa, that Arjuna saying, Na yotsye iti govindam, I shall not fight. Thus, he says to Govinda. Meaning, even though he says, I shall not fight, what he means is, until I am convinced, I shall not fight. And tushnim babhuvaha. Arjuna became silent. And Sanjaya adds further. So he's addressing the blind king Dhritarashtra. He says, hey Bharata. So, oh descendant of Bharata. Dhritarashtra is a descendant of Bharata. That too, what a contrast. That great, glorious Bharata and the blind king Dhritarashtra. So this, hey Bharata, Dhritarashtra, Rishikeshaha, the Lord of the senses, as though smiling, Prahasanniva, spoke these words to Arjuna. Arjuna is who is sorrowful in the midst of the two armies. So Rishikeshaha, Prahasanniva, as those, the Lord of the senses, as those smiling. His mind was smiling. The Lord spoke these words. Now you may wonder, Arjuna is sorrowful and Lord is smiling. Why? Remember what Arjuna said? Nahi prapashyami upayam. I don't see any means or technique to remove my sorrow. Lord is smiling because aham prapashyami upayam. I see the means to remove your sorrow. I see the means to dispel your dejection. So don't worry. So Sri Krishna knew the remedy, therefore smiles. This smile you can always observe in our study groups. The study group leader smiles. Why? Because he knows the answer. When a member asks a question and all others look at the study group member's face, study group leader's face, and the study group leader smiles. Why? He knows. So Lord Krishna smiles because he knows the answer. So now the pure philosophy starts. Lord Krishna is giving the absolute standpoint. Why? Why absolute standpoint? Because Arjuna, the present condition of Arjuna is collapsed. He is collapsed at the physical level, emotional level, and intellectual level. Physically crying, remember? Ashrupurna akula ikshana. See that? Eyes flowing with tears, full of tears, physically crying. Emotionally overwhelmed. He's not able to drive his emotions. And intellectually dejected. Dejected means he wants to kick but can't kick. Helplessness. Now, when all the personalities are collapsed, you cannot solve a problem by being in the problem. By being in the problem, how can you solve the problem? You have to come out, stand apart. So whenever you have a problem, what do? You cry out, why me? Oh Lord, why me? Why is a very wrong question. Never ask why. Ask who is having the problem. Who is a very, very healthy question. Why healthy question? Who means WHO, World Health Organization. So who is a better question than why? Never ask why. Because here Arjuna is having kartavya vyamoha. Means confused regarding his duties. He doesn't know what his responsibilities are. Confused. And when you are confused and when you ask two people, what will happen? You get 23 advices. That will happen. I still remember the face of one young person. He asked me, Swamiji, please tell me whether I should marry or not marry. I said, don't marry. I thought he will go away. He asked, why? I never expected that. He asked, why? Now what will I say? I said, okay, marry. Then again he asked, why? Now what am I to say? I said, why not? Lucky he did not say why not. The confusion continues. So the guidelines to decide should be known. Kartavya means duty. Kartavya is mainly, kartavya not mainly, only. Kartavya is only for a karta. Karta means doer. So kartavya is for karta. Means duty is for a doer. So you have to determine first, who is the doer? I am the doer. Who am I? When I know who am I, then my duty becomes clear. Based on I, my. Isn't it? Then my duty becomes clear. And always we should know that all our duties are only as so-and-so. As a so-and-so alone, all the duties. As a parent, parental. As a spouse, spousal duties. As a professional, professional duties. But as I, duty free. No duty. But if I'm confused, when one is confused upon one's own identity, when a man in the family, he knows all his relationships. He knows relating with the parents, with the spouse, with the children. Very responsible man. But one day he has taken bhang. Now when he has taken bhang, what will happen? What will he do? How will he behave? Now to that man who is under the influence of bhang, you cannot tell him, this is not becoming of you. A noble man will never do like this, etc., etc., etc. What is the use? What you should do? Give him a Punjabi glass of buttermilk and then make him aware of his identity. Then when he comes to his identity, then he will do the needful. And moreover, as a relative entity, always as so-and-so, one problem or the other. There will always be some problem or other. Problems end only in the burial ground. Think. So if you want no problem, Swamiji, I don't want any problem. What are you asking? I want to go under the ground, burial ground. And so, oh, Swamiji, I don't want to be buried. So if problems end only in the burial ground, then let me have more problems. No, you need not ask even for more problems. Problems come free, gratis. What are friends for? More. What are relations for? Close relations give very close problems because they are interested in your longevity. They don't want you to be buried. As a son, problem. And as a husband, more problem. More problems. What should you be? Should you be son or should you be husband? If as a husband you start doing, then your wife is very happy. My husband is the best. But you become a bad son. Joru ka gulam. Moms are saying. Supposing you start identify as a son. As a son, you start doing everything. And mom very happy. But you become a bad husband. And you're called mama's boy, mom's boy. Now what to do? Should you be a husband or should you be a son? Dilemma. So what you should do? Discover your absolute identity first. I as I. Then you can observe, watch objectively so-and-so. I seated on the pedestal of your real nature. Then watch. I as a parent, I as a spouse, I as a professional. Then when you're watching, which role is to be given more importance? Which role more priority? Only when you look at the entire situation objectively, you will be able to decide. If you are in it, you're identified there, you can never do your duty. So when you look at the entire situation objectively, then you'll be able to decide which role is to be given more importance or priority. So objectively look. That is why what we do, whenever we are in a problem, we ask someone. When we are in a trouble, we ask the other person. Because that other person can objectively look. You ask your neighbor. Your neighbor, you have a very low opinion of your neighbor. But still you will ask him. And neighbor advises very easily. And next day, that same neighbor comes to you for advice. And what do? You give the same advice what he gave you, because you can objectify now. So Lord Krishna is therefore giving the absolute knowledge so that Arjuna will know his absolute identity and will be able to objectively observe his relative relationships to decide the right thing at this juncture. But if you're totally identified in your relative role and you cannot come out, you get dejected. Dejected means you want to kick them, but you cannot kick. Remember yesterday I said, you want to kick, but you can't kick because he's your own son-in-law. I'm sorry, your own brother-in-law. Useless brother-in-law. You know he deserves to be kicked. But how can you kick? He is your only wife's brother, Salam. You can't kick. For the sake of peace at home, you try to tolerate. Biting your teeth, you try to tolerate. And then you feel dejected and you suffer ulcers. This is what happens. But Arjuna fortunately had Lord Krishna. And Lord Krishna addresses Arjuna, and over the shoulders of Arjuna, Bhagavan is addressing all of us. So this is the glorious teaching. Over the shoulders of Arjuna, Lord Krishna is giving the teaching. So now let's chant Krishna's glorious teaching. So today Riya is going to chant, and she will repeat after me. Shri Bhagavanu Vacha.
Shri Bhagavanu Vacha.
We can't hear you. Shri Bhagavanu Vacha.
Shri Bhagavanu Vacha.
Ashocyan Anvashocastvam.
Ashocyan Anvashocastvam.
Prajnavadamscha bhashase.
Prajnavadamscha bhashase.
Gata sunagata sumscha.
Gata sunagata sumscha.
Nanushocanti panditaha.
Nanushocanti panditaha.
Beautiful. If you see this, how it starts. Lord Krishna declares, Ashocyan Anvashocastvam. Hey Arjuna, Tvam Anvashochaha. You are grieving. For whom? Ashocyan. For those who should not be grieved for. You are unnecessarily grieving for those who should not be grieved. They don't need your grief, but you are grieving. And when you're grieving, and then what? Prajnavadamscha bhashase. Even though you're grieving, yet you're talking like a wise man. Prajnavan. So you're talking like a wise man. If you refer Gita chapter 1, from verse 35 onwards, you could see how Arjuna describes Prajnavadamscha bhashase. Krishna remembers how Arjuna was talking like a Prajnavan, like a great scholar. Etan hantumichami natopi madhusudana api trailokya rajyasya kimno mahi krute. All these start describing. Verse 35 to you can read what Arjuna gives like a Prajnavan. And Krishna says, hey Arjuna, you are lecturing me. You are lecturing me in the first chapter, elaborately enumerating the evils of war, as though I don't know. Therefore, Lord says here, Arjuna, you are grieving for those who should not be grieved for. And yet you are talking like a Prajnavan, like a wise man. Please know, the truly wise people, Panditaha, Gatasun, Agatasumscha, Nanushocanti Panditaha. Gatasun, Agatasun. Gata soon means gone. Gata asu means the pranas. Pranas are gone. Pranas are gone means dead. Gata soon. And agata soon. Agata soon means the pranas not yet gone. Means living. Gata soon means the dead. Agata soon, the living. Means not yet gone. Living means what? Not yet gone. So you and I are like that. Not yet gone. Our great grandfathers, no, gone. Fathers are there. And we are there. And then our children are pushing us. So gata soon, gone. Agata soon, not yet gone. Meaning none of us are permanent. 100 years ago, where were you? And 100 years after, where will you be? Therefore, nanushocanti panditaha. Panditaha na anushocanti. Remember that. Anushocanti. Shochanti means grieving. Anushocanti means continuously grieving. So, panditaha na anushocanti. Some experience must have happened 20 years ago. Even now, if you are grieving for that, as you grieved that at that time, that's so continuously grieving. But wise people, don't think that wise people do not grieve. They also grieve when at a situation when it is a separation from a close relation. They also grieve, but not continuously keep on grieving. And like see Arjuna in this grief, he threw away his bow and arrow. Like that, they don't throw away their job. They will fulfill their responsibility, even though they have that grief, but they give up that and then start fulfilling their responsibilities. Hey Arjuna, you are grieving and you are giving up your responsibilities. Panditaha will not, the wise will not do that. So the wise grieve not continuously. Therefore, Lord, imagine how the Lord started the Gita itself. Ashocyan. That's how Ashocyan, Anvashocha. So Ashocyan Krishna starts. And also ends with Mashucha. So the message is, Lord's teaching is, grieve not. Don't worry. Arjuna is asking, oh Lord, how can I not grieve? My grandsire, my guru will die. And you say, grieve not? How rude you are. You are a sadist. Lord is always compassionate. Bhagavan is always compassionate. Therefore, Lord says, think. Telugu people say, thinkandi. Tamil person says, thinkinga with respect. And Hindi person, thinkji. So Lord says, think. When you see death by itself, because Arjuna's sorrow is, my grandsire will die, my guru will die. Death by itself does not give sorrow. How many times you must be reading the newspaper and then you say, oh, only 223 people died. You say, only 223 died. You tell others also. But if my own relation died, then sorrow starts. Say, Arjuna, my grandsire, my guru will die. So Arjuna's sorrow is, my grandsire Bhishma and my guru Drona will die. So Krishna is saying, analyze. Why don't you analyze? Objectively look. Now, who is your grandsire? Who is your guru? Did you observe? Did you analyze? Is your guru and grandsire, are they body? Are they the body? Or are they the mind intellect, the jiva, the individuality? Are they the body? Or are they the mind intellect? Or the reality? What do you think your guru is? Or your grandsire? There's such great people. So are they the body? Or are they the mind intellect? Or Atman, the self? What are they? Now, if you see the standpoints, at the physical standpoint, at the body standpoint, body is anitya. Anitya means perishable. Whatever you may do, badam, pista, vitamins, all you may give, yet perishable. So body is perishable. Body is anitya. So do you grieve for anitya? Something which is perishing, would you grieve? You know it is perishing. So when you know it is perishing, why should you grieve? So body is anitya. For anitya, nobody grieves. But you are grieving. So if you think your Bhishma, Drona are a body is anitya. For anitya, a wise person does not grieve. Or if you think that they are jiva, their standpoint of jiva, the mind and intellect, the individuality. If you think Bhishma and Drona are mind intellect, then your grandsire, your guru, they are such noble souls, such great people. And when they leave the body, meaning the mind intellect leaving the body is called death of the body. The mind, the intellect, that's called jiva, the individual. So mind intellect leaving the body is called death of the body, not you, the mind intellect. You are leaving the body. That's why I say mar gaya, dead and gone. So dead, the condition of the body. Gone, M and I left. So since they are great souls, noble souls, where will they go when the mind intellect leaves their body? Naturally, they will reach heavenly abode. Definitely they'll go to heaven, a better place than here, a glorious place they'll go. But what about those felons, the dushta chatushtaya? Dushta chatushtaya, Duryodhana, Dushasana, Karna, and Shakuni. Those felons, what about them? They definitely will go to hell. But even hell also no grief. You should not grieve. Why? Because hell is laundry service. Laundry service means the felons are washed and pressed and they come out clean. So when somebody is getting washed and pressed, and do you grieve when your clothes is being washed and pressed and then it comes out clean? In fact, you grieve with some stain still sticks in it. You complain there. But when washed and pressed and they come out clean, will you grieve? So hell also, you need not grieve. So these noble souls, Bhishma and Drona, when they leave the body, they go to heaven, they have heavenly joys. And these felons, they go to the laundry, they have the laundry service. They will be washed, pressed, and they come out very clean. That's why I was thinking for the graduation ceremony for my youth who graduate from 12th grade. I thought this would be the best message for the graduating students. It is that it is better to be alone. Because especially when they go to college, far away from home, and they want to choose to go as far as possible, minimum 7 hours ride by car. More is better because they need at least 7 hours to make the adjustments. So it is, always I tell them, it is better to be alone than in bad company. Youngsters, it is better to be alone than in bad company. And furthermore, it is better to be in hell than in bad company. This is a shock comes. It is better to be in hell than in bad company? Yes. Why? In hell, you exhaust negative tendencies. Remember laundry service, all the dirt is being cleansed. So in hell, you exhaust negative tendencies. Whereas in bad company, you accumulate new negative tendencies. Therefore, better to be alone than in bad company. Furthermore, better to be in hell than in bad company. Because in bad company, we accumulate new negative tendencies, dangerous. So from body standpoint, there should not be any grief because body is not nitya, anitya, perishable. Do you grieve for anything? You know it's going to break. Will you grieve? A wise person will not grieve. The mind intellect standpoint, noble souls go to heaven, heavenly abode. Felons go to hell, get cleansed, and come out clean. So why grieve? Now, Atman standpoint. From the Atma standpoint, from the standpoint of the self, the pure self, unconditioned by the BMI, the pure self is Nitya, eternal. Now, when that which is eternal, why should you grieve for the eternal? Tasmat, you can say. Krishna is so tasmat. Therefore, no sorrow whatsoever, no grief whatsoever. From any standpoint you look. Physical, anitya. Nobody grieves for anitya. M&I standpoint, heaven or hell. Both you need not grieve because heaven joys, hell cleansed. So no grief needed. Atman, the self, eternal. So no grief. So any standpoint, if you observe, where is the need to grieve? See now? That's why Krishna says, Ashocyan anvashochastvam prajnavadamscha bhashase gatasun agatasumscha nanushochanti panditaha. You're sitting on the seashore, near the beach. Do you celebrate the birth of every wave? Do you cry over the death of every wave? What do? You enjoy the ocean. The ocean is eternal. Waves are born. Waves die. So in the birth of the wave, growth of the wave, decay of the wave, death of the wave, you see the same ocean, the eternal ocean. Or do you celebrate the sunrise as birthday? Or mourn the sunset as death? You know the sun never rises, never sets. I don't know, in Canada, I saw a program. The program was called Art Attack. It's very significant. Art Attack, not heart attack. Art Attack. And I saw this man, he has all the birthday materials, the plates, napkins, cups, all those. And you see him just throwing the plates and cups, and just when you see him just throwing. And then you don't make out anything. But then they take you up 50 feet. When you are taken the vision 50 feet, from there when you look, then you can behold from 50 feet above that materials with the birthday materials he has thrown as he liked. He has created out of it a juggler juggling with the cups. Only from 50 feet you can see that. But when he was throwing on the ground, you cannot make out anything. It's meaningless. But 50 feet above, you can see the juggler juggling. Amazing. Down below, meaningless. High above, you can see the beauty. I don't know how many of you saw that. Also, another man I saw, they're sitting, all are sitting in the living room, and there's a huge window. And he has taken a sponge and is dabbing over the window. You see him dabbing. You cannot make out anything. Then he takes us outside. When you go outside, then you can see a huge cat sitting. So it's called inside out vision. So the vision is from outside only you can see this. If he's working from inside, even though he's working from inside, but his vision, he can imagine what will be the vision from outside. Just as this man, when he's throwing, he has a vision what will be at 50 feet. This is called detaching and observing. What a vision. This is called vision. So vision is very important. Our vision, so limited. I, my. Selfishness, selfish desires. And we cry, My money gone, and I cry. Loudly cry. By crying, if you can make money, then many can make millions. I would have made millions by crying to clear the loan of my Chinmaya Somnath. If crying can bring millions. And many of my Chinmaya families also would have joined me to cry more loudly to clear the debt quickly. By crying, you can't make money. But we cry. Oh, Swamiji, my wealth gone. Therefore, sorrow. Before, when the wealth was not there, were you not happy? The movies and all, they take very well. There was a nice movie called in Tamil, I saw Kali Yuga Kannan. Very nice movie. And Hindi, the same thing has come, Yahi Hai Zindagi. Beautiful movie. When he was very poor as working in a hotel, whole family was so happy. And he becomes a hotel manager or hotel owner. Many hotels he start. And then what happens? More money comes. Attachment to money. And then money, attachment to money brings worries and anxieties. Whenever you got a lot of money, what do? You start locking. Why you lock? Ayo, Swamiji, it may get stolen. Money will be get stolen. Means you expected that money will get stolen. So, and then money gets stolen. And then you start grieving. And suppose I tell you, didn't you expect it before that money will be stolen? So you expected it, therefore it happened. So why are you grieving? That doesn't mean you should not lock. If lock is there, lock it. And if there is no lock, forget it. Because in fact, lock is only to protect from gentlemen, not to tempt the so-called honest people. When a professional thief comes, all the locks open by themselves. That is the professional. And when you don't lock, people will call you, what a careless fool you are. As though if you had locked, your money will not get stolen. Okay, Swamiji, if wealth is gone or money is gone, I will not grieve. I will earn again because I have the capacity. What about health? If health is gone, should I not grieve? Body level not healthy. Will it not cause grief? It will cause grief. But what to do? I have a headache. When I have a headache, what do? I take aspirin and sit quietly. Not continuously grieving and cause headache to everyone else around me. If I have a headache, take the needed medicine and sit quietly. But we don't. Continue. Anushochanam. Nanushochanti panditaha. The wise grieve not continuously. Actually, if you see, when the body is healthy, we must wonder. If it is healthy, we must wonder. Because our body is like a balloon. And some bodies are really like a balloon. When the balloon will burst, who can tell? When the balloon bursts, will you cry? But your child will cry. And then when the child cries, the enlightened father comes and gives upadesh. And the share market fell. Father starts crying. When the father is crying, now your child comes and consoles you. We easily understand the balloon bursting, but not the shares falling. See that? And we also say that we should be surprised if the balloon did not burst. What a jnana. We are very knowledgeable with children and all. Look at the body. How many holes in the balloon? One hole, it blasts. The body has many holes. Yet air is coming in and air is going out. And one day it has to burst. And sometimes we say, I expected it and it happened. So why should you grieve? Because you expected it, so it happened. So no reason to grieve continuously. Or you may say, "Oh, I never expected it and it happened." Then also, what can you do? Why should you grieve? You did not expect it. It happened. So at that moment you can grieve, not grieve continuously. So shoka nimittam nasti. Because Arjuna is shoka samvigna manasa. That's what in the first chapter we saw. My senses are drying up because of this sorrow. My mind is tormented by this. So main problem of Arjuna is sorrow. So shoka nimittam nasti. No reason for sorrow. There are professional criers. Rudali. It's very nice to watch them. When a person dies in the family, all the family members, they are frustrated with that person. They want him to die, but he's not dying. And many people say, I think Chitragupta lost his file. My grandfather, I think Chitragupta lost it. When will he die? We don't know. And he's having all the money and he has not given the will yet. Supposing he has given the will and gave everything, then they don't care. But he has not. Now all, because he has not given his will, all are with him, waiting, trying to do everything. But moment they get the malai, his property, what will happen? They wait for his death. So since they don't like that old man, they can't cry. Now when they can't cry, what will they do? They call the Rudalis. And these are professional criers. And they can cry. But wise can never cry continuously. But people, those who cannot cry and appoint somebody to cry, all these we are seeing in the world. When you love somebody, so attached to somebody, and you miss that person, how you cry? You can cry one, 2, 3 days, nothing wrong. But continuously crying for days together, for years together, imagine. So even though when Krishna said this, hey Arjuna, ashocyan anvashochastvam, panditaha na anushochanti. You think Arjuna understood? He might not have understood, but at least he was consoled. He felt, what Krishna is saying, I need not grieve. There is no sorrow. He might have, little consolation must have come. And Gurudev used to give the example. Imagine the raid, income tax raid. They come, suddenly they come, and then what? All the files taken, everything taken. And you are sitting with your head down your hands. At that time, your friend comes. And he asks, what happened? Arey yaar, if they had taken my money and all, I don't mind. They have taken all my files. What can I do? I want my files back. Money I'm ready to give. But files, how can I get my files back? The friend says, don't worry. I know to pull the strings. I can pull some strings. But remember, 50-50. I don't know what is 50-50, but he says 50-50. Moment he says 50-50, the friend who had the raid, his eyes brighten up. He gets a relief. He doesn't understand how is he going to pull the string and all. He doesn't understand. But he says, I know to pull the strings, 50-50. And he says, 75 also I'm ready to give. See that? So this man has a feeling that I will be saved. Like that, some consolation must have come into Arjuna. So Krishna says, Nanu shochanti panditaha. The wise grieve not. They never grieve continuously. Such a stunning statement Krishna makes. Now, you may say, why should I not grieve? Why are you grieving? You are grieving because you are thinking of your grandsire and Guru will die. And all of them will die. Not only your grandsire Guru, in your side also people will die. In Kaurava side also they will die. So this is what you are worried. So you are worried your Guru and grandsire and your close relations, the kith and kin will die. But if you really, I gave you the 3 standpoints. actually no one dies. So here he is giving the eternal nature of the Atman. No one dies. There was never a time when I was not there. There was never a time when you were not there. There was never a time when these kings were not there. This is what Krishna gives now. So let us see the 12th verse, beautiful verse, the eternal nature of the divine self. So again, Lord is continuing. Natve vaham jatu nasam.
Nattvevaham jatu nasam.
Natvam neme janadhipaha.
Natvam neme janadhipaha.
Na chaiva na bhavishyamaha.
Na chaiva na bhavishyamaha.
Sarve vayamatah param.
Sarve vayamatah param.
Krishna says, Natu eva aham jatu na asam. Natu, tu means indeed. So it is indeed, it is not that I have never existed. Krishna is declaring. It is not that I have never existed. Means I was always there. Arjuna may be, Krishna, you may be there. I am not talking about you. And Krishna immediately adds, it's not only me. Not that it is not that I never existed. I was always there. Even you. Natvam. It is not that you never existed. You were always there. I was always there, and you also always existed. What about these kings? Ime janadipaha. Na ime janadipaha na asan. See that? Natu eva aham jatu na asam. It is not that I never existed before. I was always existing. Na tvam na asi. You also were existing always. Na ime janadipaha na asan. Means these kings also were always existing. So it is not that these kings have never existed. I'm not talking about the past. Krishna is saying, these kings were existing. You were existing. I was existing. Past, maybe. But what about future? Because I'm worried that future they are going to die. They must have existed in the past. But what about future? Krishna adds, Na chaiva na bhavishyamaha. Sarve vayam atah param. Na cha eva na bhavishyamaha. Sarve vayam. It is not that we all will cease to exist in the future. Means even hereafter we will exist. In the past I was. In the past you were. In the past they all were there. And in future I will be. You will be. They will be. Now don't ask, Swamiji, what about present? Present, are you not standing right in front? You and I are here and they are standing right in front. So there was never a time when I was not. There was never a time when you were not. There was never a time when these kings were not. Nor will there be a time when we will not be in the future. This cannot be from the body standpoint. It is always from the eternal self, Nitya Atma. Now when it is said that I was there, you were there, they were there, so how many Atmas are there? Many Atmas? No. Atman is one. Ekameva Advitiyam. one divine self. But you are saying, I was there, you were there, they were there. So how many selves? It is only from the standpoint of the body. Imagine one self, one sun, the bright sun is shining in the sky. One sun is shining. And down below you have kept many pots of water. Many pots of water. In every pot, there will be the reflection of the sun. How many reflections? As many pots of water, so many reflections of the sun. So to one Atman, the self, like the sun. And the pot, the body is like the pot. The waters are the thoughts. So in the pool of thoughts, the sun of consciousness is reflecting. So as many pool of thoughts in the pots of bodies, as many, so many reflections. That doesn't mean there are many suns. One sun. So too, one Atman, one self, reflecting in all the thought pools as the I thought. See that? So you mean I was always there? Because Krishna, I was there, you were there, they were there. So I was always there. How? How can I know that I was always there and I will always be? I am, of course, now. So I was there and I will always be. How to understand that? Krishna says, just as. Just as what? Next verse. So let us see. The next verse reveals how we are experiencing the eternal self. Let us read verse 13. It's a beautiful verse. Dehi nosmin yatha dehe.
Dehi nosmin yatha dehe.
Kaumaram yauvanam jara.
Kaumaram yauvanam jara.
Tatha dehantara praptihi.
Tatha dehantara praptihi.
Dhirastatra na muhyati.
Dhirastatra na muhyati.
A beautiful verse. We can keep on reflecting upon this verse. How we can feel that eternal self in our own lifetime. Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara. Yatha, just as. Dehinaha. Dehinaha means, deha means body. Dehinaha, one who is residing in the body. The resident. The embodied. Dehinaha. Asmin dehe. Dehinaha asmin dehe. The embodied, the resident in the body. What's happening to that resident? That resident in the body is experiencing what? Kaumaram, yauvanam, jara. I, the indweller, was in my childhood. That's why you say, Swamiji, in my childhood, all your experiences, you say, I was in my childhood. Don't you feel that? In my childhood, what all games we played. So you were there. I was in my childhood. Then what about your youth? Kaumaram. Childhood means Kaumaram. Yauvanam, in the youthful days, what all I did this in the college days, Swamiji, what all I did. I can't imagine I did all those things. Then I as a youth, I was the youth, I was the child, I was the same I. The childhood is not the youth. Youth is not the childhood. But you say, when I was the child, when I was youth. See, that same I. Then Jara. Jara means gerontology, old age. Means now in the old age, I am. So I was in the childhood, I was in my youth, and now I am in the old age. Tatha dehantara praptihi. So too, I will be there after the death of the body. Just as I was there in the childhood body, and the childhood body died. Then I was there in the youth body, and the youth body died. Then I am in the old age body. When the old age body dies, you mean to say I will die? It's a continuation. So if you analyze, death can come only in three ways. Death has three exits. Three ways we can die. What are the three ways? Accident. By accident, die. Nowadays they say accidents are more. Then disease. Because of disease, die. And the final, old age. So three ways. By accident, or by disease, or by old age. These are the three. And if you happen to know any extra, let me know. So accident, A. Accident means A. Disease, D. And old age, O. Spell it out. Accident, disease, old age. Ado. Much ado about nothing. Only three ways. You cannot even die originally. Only three exits. And death is not the dead end. You continue. Dhiras tatra na muhyati. Tatra dhiraha. Dhiraha means, I hope you can, I should see your lips. Tatra dhiraha na muhyati. Means one who has no moha. Such a person is called dhira. When there is no moha, there will be no shoka. Shoka we know. Arjuna's sorrow now. This Arjuna's sorrow is because of Arjuna's moha. So any time, whenever we are experiencing sorrow, at that time, if we can think that my sorrow is not because of this and that, and it's because of my moha. See how all of us know sorrow, but very few, majority know sorrow, but very few know the source of sorrow. Moha means delusion. Delusion is the cause. My delusion. My delusion is the cause for my sorrow. I may attribute my sorrow to my in-laws. Because of my in-laws, my sorrow. Because of my spouse, my sorrows. Because of my parents, my sorrow. We may attribute. But the real thing is my delusion. My delusion is the cause of my sorrow. So the dhira definition is, guys, then the dictionary also you can see, Apte dictionary if you see, vikara hetau sati vikriyante yesham na chetamsi ta eva dhiraha. It gives the definition of a dhira purusha. Vikara hetau sati. Even though there's a lot of reasons to give you disturbance, many reasons to agitate your mind. Vikara hetau sati. Yesham chetamsi. Those whose minds, many reasons to disturb your mind. Yet, one whose mind is not vikriyante, does not get agitated or disturbed. Such a person is called dhira purusha. Remember that. So, think. Thinkandi, Telugu people. Thinkanga, Tamil people. Thinkaji, Hindi people. So this, now pay attention to this sentence, what I'm going to tell. You cannot suffer. Think, you cannot suffer. And you don't suffer. You cannot suffer and you don't suffer. Period. Then who suffers? The person you imagine to be, that person suffers. Remember when I said that I as I, no one suffers. But I imagine that I am parent. I volunteer to be parent. And then I become the shareholder of the sorrows of the parent. When I imagine I am parent, then sorrows of the parent. I as I, no sorrows. And I imagine that I am spouse. Moment you identify as spouse, imagine, be ready for Sahasranama Archana. Not that you do, the spouse does Sahasranama Archana for you. See that? You volunteer to be. The person you imagine to be suffers. If you can stand and you start seeing that how you are imagining that person, imagine you see somebody suffering. And when you are seeing somebody suffering, that too the person whom you hate, you do not like that person, and you see that person suffering, how will you look? So you start enjoying. See, this is what happens. You don't listen. You insulted me. See how you are experiencing all the karma pala. See the karma reaction. How you say you you called me idiot. You abused me, gave me all troubles. Look, so you start enjoying. Same way, you can see your own all the relative relationships. You may say, Swamiji, as a parent, even if suffering is there, I should not suffer. When do you become parent? You become parent only when your child is in front of you. If your child is not in front of you, what are you? You are you. But if your child comes in front of you, then you are based on the relative relationship, the relation. In front of the child, definitely you're a parent. Do what should be done. Be the best parent. What the child needs, you have to give. Needs means mainly education and entertainment also now and then. Yeah. So as a parent, you can identify only when the child is in front of you. But our case is what? When the child is not in front of us, he is having a very jolly good time in the college. You start worrying here. I don't know what he has. I don't think he has eaten. I don't think I think he's not sleeping well. I think he's all late night. Even 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, he doesn't sleep. You start worrying here. But Swamiji, I am not interested in worrying, but it comes. What should I do? When the worry comes, especially when your child is not in front of you, what you should do? Since you are remembering a child, why think all the bad stuff what he is doing? You're only imagining. That boy may not be doing it, or the girl may not be doing it, but you are imagining. So instead, start thinking what you can give your child, because the child has come in your mind. So what I can give my child. But Swamiji, he doesn't want anything. Who will not want some instructions, especially Gita messages? You can tell this, you cannot suffer and you don't suffer. Then who suffers? The person you imagine to be suffers. You can put that statement. It's better to be alone than in bad company. Furthermore, it is better to be in hell than in bad company. Because in hell, you exhaust the negative tendencies. Whereas in bad company, accumulate new negative tendencies. So you can send text, because they are more into text than in talking to you on the phone. You want to call them, definitely moment they see that is parent, immediately they press or do not lift. See that? But you can text message. Oh, but Swamiji, I texted, he never replies, she never replies. They are not thinking of you. You are thinking of him or her. You are thinking of your son. You are thinking of your daughter. If they are thinking of you, they will text. You might have seen many texts, Dad, please send me $50. Please send me $500. You might have received so many texts. Be happy. They are thinking of you through money, no doubt. It's called parent. Parent means pay rent. You pay the rent. That's why it's called parent. So they may not be thinking of you. Since you are thinking, give them something which make thought-provoking statements. Text them. They may read and they may give a shocking statements. We should be really hit them in a very sarcastic way. Sarcasm is a sign of intelligence. So just as you cannot suffer and you don't suffer, then who suffers? The person you imagine suffers. The person you imagine to be. You imagine that you are the parent, even when the child is not in front of you. And then go through the sorrows, worries, anxieties. In the same way, so too you cannot die. You cannot die. Even if you want to die, you cannot die. Then who dies? The person you imagine to be dies. You imagine yourself as a child, and the child died. The childhood died. Did you die? Then you imagine yourself as the youth, and then youthhood died. Did you die? Think. So this body is only a tool. Your tool. An instrument to use wisely. Take care of it. Take care of the tool. Give it a shower, clothe it, feed it, etc. Isn't it? So in the body itself, how many times you have died? How many times you have taken up new body? How many times? 9 times, if you analyze. 9 times I have taken up new body and 8 times died. When 8 times you died and you did not die, 9th time when you die, will you die? Somebody, 8 times, how many bodies I have? Count. Infant body. The tiny infant body. So huggable, so lovable. Everybody likes the infant child. Why? No raga dvesha. If only some physical pain is there, the child will cry. If no physical pain, the infant will be giving joy to everyone. Because Ananda Swarupa is shining. So tiny infant body. You gave up that tiny infant body and then took up the childhood body. In the childhood body, what all mischiefs. Oh, how many tantrums, how many things you have done. And then you gave up the childhood body. And then took what? Adolescent body. In the adolescent body, all the changes happen. Your voice breaks. When the voice breaks, especially when you are in the Indian Idol or American Idol, at that time when you are singing your song, at that time your voice breaks, especially boys. What a embarrassment. And especially when he's talking to his girlfriend and his voice breaks. The boy, he doesn't know what to do. Immediately hangs up the phone and runs into the restroom and starts crying. Adolescent. And that adolescent body also you gave up. And then took up what? A teen body. When you took up the teen body, the teen wolf comes out. And all the teen troubles. Then you gave up the teen body also. And then took up the youth body. And in the youth body, what all dating, all those things happen. As the childhood, balastavat, krida sakta. As the youth, tarunastavat, taruni sakta. All young attached to the other young. That is why I have summer camp up to 8th grade. Why up to 8th grade only summer camp? Up to 8th grade, I've been observing. The boys, they hate the girls blindly. Up to 8th grade. And girls hate the boys blindly. After 8th grade, what happens? I don't know. Same thing happens. They start blindly loving. Up to 7th or 8th grade, blindly hating. From after 8th or 9th grade, blindly loving. That is the youth condition. So, Tarunastavat, Taruni Sakta. And then one youth body given up, then young adult body comes. Job, this, that, and pressures from others, marriage alliance. And they say, why don't you put your bio? And you put Indians especially, we want wheatish, black or white or brown. No, wheatish. That is the most popular color. See that? As young adult. Then young adult body also you gave up. Adult body. Ayya. In the adult body, you get adulterated. Then what happens? Middle-aged body comes. When the middle-aged body you take up, all the pains, all the joints. If you bend, you can't. If something comes, you can never see your feet. Whether you're wearing the chapel or not, whether you're wearing your own chapel or somebody's chapel, you can't see because something is in the front. Madhya Pradesh, isn't it? Middle-aged body. And finally, senior citizen body. See how many bodies? Infant body, childhood body, adolescent body, teen body, youth body, young adult body, middle-aged body, finally, senior citizen body. How many? 9. They said cat has 9 lives. Look at this. So when the infant body died and you took the childhood body, did you die as an infant and reborn as a child? Did you feel that? I died as an infant, then reborn as a child. Did you feel? No. Then did you feel that you died as a child and then reborn as an adolescent? No such feelings. So when you change infant body is not the childhood body is not the adolescent body is not the teen body is not the youth body is not young adult body is not adult body is not middle-aged body. And of course, middle-aged body is not seniors. I didn't want to say old age because all nowadays want to say I'm a senior citizen. So senior citizen body. Now when the senior citizen body dies, when you give up the senior citizen body, will you die? You did not die when the body died 8 times. Will you die when the body dies the 9th time? Will you? You take up another body. Tata dehantara prapti. Dhiras tatra na muhyati. See the beauty. Thus you start recycling your body. You cannot die. Period. That's it. You cannot die. If you want to die, you can really die. You can dye your hair. You can dye your hair. This one small girl, maybe she was 7 years old or so innocent at that time. So the 7-year-old girl told me, Swamiji, why don't you dye your hair? Very nice. I was smiling at her. Swamiji, why don't you dye your hair? And her mom also was smiling. Then the second statement she made, shocking. Swamiji, why don't you dye your hair like my mom? And I look at the mom, shiny black hair. The mom was so angry. She shouted, Summa ready, why mood? Tamil means shut up, stop, shut up your mouth. That's what mom said in Tamil. Summa ready, why mood? The child is so innocent. She wants, Swamiji, why don't you dye your hair? Like my mom. So you can dye your hair. And earlier days and all only from white to black. Nowadays you can have any color. But I have the dyeing experience. Dyeing experience means my clothes dyeing. That is in the Vedanta course and all. When you complete when we are studying the Vedanta course, we wear white robes. Milk white, because pure atmosphere, the ashram, we are all sattvic people, mostly sattvic people. So white dress, so nice, clean white dress in the ashram. Now after the course is over, we are given yellow robes, yellow color. Yellow color is the color of dirt, silicon dioxide, earth. So yellow is the color of dirt, the color of dirt. So since we are going into the field, we will get dirty. Therefore, dirty color is given, yellow color. Now I have new white robes, new dress. What will I do? I can't throw them away. And I thought, why not dye the robes? White robes, I can make them into yellow robes. So one of the members in Mumbai, I went to their home. I asked, Amma, I told Amma, I want to die in your kitchen. That lady was so shocked. She started shouting out, Oji, idhar aao ji, idhar aao ji. Ye bacha, mera kitchen mein marna chahta hai. Then I understood. She didn't understand what. No, I said, no, dye my clothes. I didn't know what's the word dye in Hindi. And then I dye my clothes. Then people don't know, it is called rang. Then rang de basanti. I want to dye my clothes, not dye. When I said I want to dye my clothes, she understood. When she understood, see the glorious statement she makes. Swamiji, I will die for you. The husband did not come till then. He was sitting far. And he heard that statement. I will die for you. He was thrilled and he was coming, running to think. He thought his wife is going to die for him, for me. Then when he came and he saw the clothes, he was disappointed and he walked away. See that? When she knew that dyeing the clothes. And what she says, I will die for you. Means, even though I say I will die for you, she knows it's the clothes. Not I. Think. This is the glory of this knowledge. You cannot die. Period. Body dies. Not you. But I identify with the body and then get scared, worried. I'm going to die. I will die. Dhiras tatra na muhyati. So a dhira does not get deluded regarding death. So further beautiful verses are coming. So we will see next class. Thank you very much.
Guru आरती श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरु की, आरती सद्गुरु की, आरती सद्गुरु की।
बोलिए सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की
Please do namaskar to the Arati.